Welcome to today's webinar, and thank you, Fred, for presenting for us. It's such a privilege to have you again. Our session today is about elevating healthcare mobility with Spectralink Versity 97 series. And my name is Francisca Davis from Connected Health. We are the healthcare business unit of Wavelink. Joining me today, Fred Zimbrick from Spectralink. Thank you, Fred.
All right, thanks, Francesca. Hi, everybody. My name is Fred Zimbrick. I am the Senior Product Manager for Wi-Fi products at Spectralink. I've been with the company for an entire 7 months at this point, but I do have a background in mobile devices with a couple of different companies in the consumer side of mobile devices, and so I do have some experience in the field. I'm just kind of a little bit new to the B2B part of it. And I'm here today to talk to you about our Versity 97 series and how it helps to elevate healthcare mobility. So I'll just jump right into it. So Spectralink has been around for 30 plus years at this point, and we have over 1,200 healthcare customers globally. You can see some of them from Australia, but we do have multiple customers all over the world that have used our products for a long time. We pride ourselves in industry-leading voice applications, and so we do a lot of work to make sure that the voice quality of our phone calls on our devices is as high as possible. I'll go into some details a little bit later on some of the ways that we make sure that we have the industry-leading voice quality for our devices. We also work very closely with application partners, and this is really key for mobile devices in the B2B space or the enterprise space. You know, you might think, well, it's an Android device, I have an Android app, you know, they should just work. And that's true for, you know, consumer side, but when you're talking about enterprise devices and you're talking about things like, you know, a barcode scanner included in the device, hot swappable batteries, an alarm button, a lot of these other things that you normally don't have in, you know, a consumer grade device, it is very important that we go out and we test our product with all of these application partners to make sure that when you install their app on our device, that the two work together seamlessly and there are no issues. And so we do spend a lot of time and a lot of effort to make sure that we validate with as many healthcare application partners as possible, and I'll show you some of those going forward. We also provide a complete solution, so not just out there to sell you hardware, we can also provide some professional services to maybe optimize your network so that we make sure that your voice quality is as high as possible with our Spectralink devices. We can also help you deploy the devices into your places. And we also have some management tools so we can help with fleet management. We also provide service and support on the back end as well. So we are a full service company, not just selling hardware. So looking at some of our application partners, so I mean, we partner with the unified communication partners like Zoom, like Teams, like WebEx, RingCentral. You know, so we make sure that we validate with all of these companies so that our products work seamlessly with all of their applications. On the network side, the Wi-Fi network side, we work with a lot of different partners, and we have our own qualification or certification program that we go through with each one of these Wi-Fi network partners, again, to make sure that when we connect our devices up to your network, that we don't have any issues with Wi-Fi communications, with Wi-Fi connectivity, with handoffs between access points. We know that when we put our devices into a location that has any one of these networks, it's just going to work because we've done that due diligence up front to make sure that we've tested vigorously with all of these Wi-Fi network companies. And then on the management side, we make sure that you know, we have tested our devices with all of the EMM or MDM partners out there, again, to make sure that when we put these phones out there that they can be controlled, monitored, and maintained using the EMM of your choice. And then we have a multitude of mobile application partners. Just we continuously test and validate with all of our different application partners, again, to make sure that they just work when you install that application on a Spectralink device. And so what do those applications on a Spectralink device enable you to do? So there's some things that you just want to do up front, like single sign-on, or be able to tap your work ID to the phone and just have it launch your applications and log into your applications. We can do that, and we have tested again with partners to make sure that we validate that it will work when you install the app. Again, you want to work with clinical communications and collaboration platforms. We have tested with a variety of them. You want to make sure that all of your information is secure. Again, we've tested with the EMMs, the MDMs. We also have Spectralink applications to provide you with some other features. So for instance, making phone calls, and you think, well, it is a mobile phone, it should have mobile phone call capabilities. And we provide that installed, included with the device. Now, if you're looking at some competitive devices, they're more mobile computers, and so they offer a SIP dialer as an add-on subscription that you will need to pay for. So if you're looking at devices and thinking about, apples to apples comparison, just make sure that you understand that most devices will charge you a subscription for a SIP dialer, whereas Spectralink, it is included in the device and it is free to use. Also on the alarm and duress side, we do have the red alarm button right at the top of the device, and we have an included safe app from Spectralink, so that it will, when you press that button, it can alert security, it can call emergency services even, and all of that is included and integrated into the device. And say you want patient monitoring, we do support patient monitoring remotely through application partners that we have validated with. Your electronic medical records, all we've certified or validated with a lot of the different EMRs providers. We also have an integrated barcode scanner. So, if your patient has a barcode, your medications have barcode, you can use the built-in scanner on the Versity device to scan that barcode. It will integrate with the applications that you're using, like your EMR, or other applications, to make sure that that barcode information gets scanned into that application. We also work with real-time location services. So if you want to track where the phone is, you want to know where people are, especially when you talk about a duress situation and somebody presses an emergency button, it can not only call emergency services, but it can also send information on where that person is located that's having that difficulty. And then we wrap that all up together with another application that we can provide, or that you can subscribe to, and that is the AMI mobile application, which allows you to monitor your network for network performance. It allows you to monitor phones for usages, and also their performance. We monitor battery health and a lot of other things that you can do with AMI on the back end to support your fleet. And so when we look at these applications on a mobile device, there's all sorts of different jobs and different departments within a clinic or a hospital where a mobile device comes in very handy, and applications that are provided with those mobile devices. So for instance, in janitorial and maintenance, scheduling maintenance or checking that maintenance has been done can be done on the application. Even if there's like a spill or a hazardous situation, you can request cleanups directly through the mobile device. Your porters, again, they can track, porter requests. You can track where they are. They can scan patient barcodes so that they know that they're delivering the right patient to the right place at the right time. Your meal prep and delivery teams, you can get patient requests or dietary restrictions through an application. They can monitor delivery. They can check off when delivery is done. All of this can be done on a mobile device. At your central nursing station, you can have alerts and alarms. You can monitor the patients remotely. You can also, enter data into their electronic medical records as needed. And when you look at your pharmacy, they can keep track of their inventory. So if a nurse wants to, prescribe, or a doctor wants to prescribe something, they know whether the drugs are in inventory or not. And then you can track, you can put the prescription in, you can track that it's getting filled, you can track when it gets delivered. And then for the clinical care nurses, they can monitor their patients remotely using a mobile application. They can receive alerts and alarms. So if something happens, they can, immediately know about it. They can text or call, other nurses, doctors, other departments as needed, and they can keep track of all of the patient care as they're giving that care. So they don't have to run back to the central nursing station or a central station to log into a computer to track what they did. They can just do it right there on their phone, on their mobile device. And again, barcodes, again, so they can make sure that when they're treating a patient, they have scanned the barcode for that patient. When they're giving medications, they can scan the medication to make sure they're giving the right medication to the right patient at the right dosage and the right time. So you can enable a lot of things with just that one mobile device, and the different applications that will enable different features on the device. So kind of talked about a lot of different applications, a lot of different workflows and use cases. Now I want to talk to you about why the Versity 97 is the best device to enable all of those workflows, all of those features, and those applications. So the Versity 97 is our ultimate all-in-one next generation device. So we've taken the user preferred and validated design from the Versity 95, and we've kept all of that. So the sleek, slim form factor, the pocketable design, the ruggedness of the Versity 95, all of those great features that that we're used to in Versity 95 that really kind of distinguish it from the competition. Those are all included in there. We also have the scanner and non-scanner models, just like we did in Versity 95, but we've taken that and essentially updated everything inside with all new technology and a world-class, class-leading microprocessor. If you're interested in more detail about the Versity 97, I put a link in here. This will take you to our YouTube channel, where you can watch the full Versity 97 introduction webinar. So it's another webinar that I put on a couple months ago as we were launching the Versity 97, and it goes into a lot more detail about the product than I will today. So if you're interested, check out the link. So a lot of new features in the Versity 97. It's now on Android 13. It has the Qualcomm 8-core 6490 processor and 8 gigabytes of RAM. So those two combined make this a very fast, very effective device today. And years into the future, it'll still be very fast and very effective for all of your multitasking, all of the applications that you need or want on the device. This is really a truly world-class processor with capabilities and RAM to support future-proofing of it. I'll just talk about a few of these. I'm not going to go into all of the details, but we've also upgraded the camera. So the Versity 95 had a 13 megapixel camera. The Versity 97 now has a 16 megapixel camera. We've also included HDR so that it takes really good pictures even with low light and high light environments. Really, it might not compete directly with the top of the line, newest products from flagship devices in the consumer device category. But for the purposes that it's needed in enterprise, it will definitely take high quality pictures that will compete directly with those consumer grade devices in those situations. We've also, based on some feedback from the Versity 95, we've added a stronger vibration to it. We've added the latest scanner technology. We've added call modes. We've increased the speaker volume, again, based on feedback that we've received from the Versity 95. Then I want to talk to you about workstation docking. So you can take the Versity 97 and plug it into, say, a laptop docking station that supports USB-C, and you can essentially use the keyboard, the mouse, the speakerphone, the display, essentially any USB accessory that is attached to that docking station. And I want to actually kind of demo this to you, so I have a video to show you. And again, I put a link here at the bottom, so the video is not in the presentation. I have to launch it here for you, but you do have a link, so if you have the presentation, you can actually watch this video later. So let me key this up. And this may appear in a separate window, so you might have to like unhide this from behind the presentation. Okay, so you can see we just literally plugged it into a workstation at the office and recorded, going onto the internet, typing onto the keyboard, using the mouse, and the big display right from the Versity 97. So another feature I want to talk to you about is the voice quality. So like I said in the beginning, we pride ourselves in voice quality with Spectralink devices. And there's a couple of different things. Number one, we use two Wi-Fi antennas, one for the phone call itself. So when you connect up to an AP and you make a phone call, we're using the one antenna to make sure that that call goes through. The second antenna is being used to scan for other access points in the area. So if you're moving down a hallway and you're starting to lose signal from the access point that you're connected to, this second antenna will find another access point and it'll make that switch to the new access point before you lose connection with the old access point. And that's part of our features of our voice optimization that we do at Spectralink. And well, a lot of other companies, including consumer grade devices, they also have two Wi-Fi antennas, but they're more focused on providing high bandwidth or high throughput for data and not focused on voice quality. And you might think, well, what's the difference in that? Well, think about if you lose like a half a second dropout when you're downloading an email or a website, you probably won't even notice it, right? But if you're in a phone call and you lose half second of the audio, that could be the difference between prescribing 0.5 milligrams of a drug and 5 milligrams of a drug. And so it is critical in this environment in healthcare that those calls are 100% accurate. There's no dropouts, there's no data loss or voice loss in that phone call to make sure that every word is heard every time on the first try. And that's why we have 72% better call connectivity than consumer grade devices in using Wi-Fi calling. And I want to talk to you especially about our new feature on the Versity 97, and that's this AI enhanced noise suppression. And I'll actually demonstrate it to you, and so I'll play you another video. And this video has three parts to it. The first part is the noisy environment. So we set up a room with 4 speakers, so a speaker in each corner of the room, and we placed a head and torso simulator. It's essentially a mannequin dummy, like head and shoulders, in the center of the room, and the mannequin has a speaker for a mouth, and then we place a phone in front of it. So the first part you'll hear is the dummy starts talking, and you'll hear it's kind of a phonetic speech that it's a female voice. So she says some things, and you'll hear that. Then you hear the noise kick in, and so that is the environment that we're simulating, essentially like a hospital emergency room kind of simulation. The second part of this is we now place a competitive device in front of the head and torso simulator. We make a phone call and we play all the noise in the room, and then we record the call from the far end. So what the competitive device is able to cancel out noise is what you will hear on the far end on the conversation. Then in the third part, we do the same thing. We place a Versity 97 in front of the head and torso simulator. We make a phone call, and what you hear is what the person on the far end will hear from the noise suppression of the Versity 97. So 1 second till I key this up. Again, this might pop up in another window, so you might have to move it to the front.
Add me to group ER respiratory adult. Accept only calls from buddy. Add me to group elite test. Add me to group ER respiratory adult. Accept only calls from buddy. Add me to group elite test. Accept only calls from buddy. Add me to group elite test. Add me to group ER respiratory adult.
Okay, so when we say you need to hear it to believe it, this is what we mean. I mean, the audio quality of the Versity 97 completely cancels out all of that noise in that noisy environment versus what you heard on the competitive device. There's still a lot of background noise in there. So this is a great new feature of the Versity 97. Again, it means that every word will be heard every time, the first time when you make a call with your Versity 97. And again, I have the link here at the bottom. This is goes to our YouTube channel, so if you want to replay this yourself, you can. Another feature that we really pride ourselves on at Spectralink is the durability and the ruggedness of our device. And a lot of phones today, even consumer grade devices, will claim IP68 rating, and that dust and waterproof protection. But the consumer grade devices can't even claim mil-spec drop specs. I mean, let's face it, when you put glass on the front and glass on the back, you drop this device, you're going to end up having to replace the device sooner rather than later. Some of our competitors in the rugged category will claim that they are mil-spec compliant. Spectralink goes above and beyond mil-spec compliant. We drop our products from a higher drop height than mil-spec requires. We also drop more drops than mil-spec requires, up to 10 times the amount of drops that mil-spec requires. And why do we do that? It's important that as a tool for medical community, that this device works. It can withstand the use and abuse, the daily use and abuse from 24/7 operations. You have tile floors with concrete below, extreme conditions, and you need to trust that that device will work. And so that's why we put the devices through such heavy testing to make sure that they are durable. Not only that, but we test with multiple different cleansers, cleaners, disinfectants, even personal hygiene products to make sure that the Versity 97 or Versity series products will withstand daily, even multiple daily cleansings with hospital grade disinfectants. And not only that, but we'll take it and expose it to all of these disinfectants, run all of this testing, then we'll take it and drop test it to make sure that even after this chemical exposure, that the device will still perform like you expected. We also, on the Versity 97, added an FDA certified antimicrobial treatment to the screen. And that's just another way to help prevent the spread of germs between staff. So just another thing to add to the durability and the ruggedness of the device. And yes, I do want to talk about and actually show you one of our engineers talking about all of the testing that we do on the Versity products and show you the ruggedness in action. So again, I'm going to run up a video here and it might pop up in a different window for you.
As a hardware engineer at Spectralink, I'm proud to be part of a team dedicated to ensuring that our products aren't just tough, but they redefine what durability means. We ensure that Spectralink Versity smartphones survive the most stringent durability tests to guarantee reliable performance for the end user. We adhere to MIL standard 810H standards, but we don't stop there. We ensure our devices greatly exceed those test requirements as well as other ruggedization testing we've developed over the years. Our stringent testing criteria and multitude of testing scenarios ensures the Versity devices are built to endure the unexpected and will be a reliable companion in any situation. Drops are conducted from all corners, edges, and faces. Versity devices survive up to 10 times the number of drops that competitive devices withstand. Our testing includes more drops from greater heights and more diverse testing than our competitors. The screen is shatter and scratch resistant, and the device will continue to work flawlessly after being dropped many times. And that's even after the devices have been subjected to disinfectants and UV sanitation tests. At Spectralink, durability isn't just a feature, it's a commitment.
All right, so when we talk about durability, you might think, well, that's great. We do all this testing and we test to make sure that it's really rugged, but what does that mean to me as an end user or somebody who's purchasing these devices? So typically when, a hospital or a clinic is thinking about purchasing, mobile devices for their workers, they're thinking of, what is the ROI, right? What is that return on investment for my investment to buy these devices? And you're typically thinking, well, they're going to save all of this time, right? We walk through all of the different applications and the different use cases and work scenarios that can be enabled by a mobile device. And so you'll figure out, what that return on investment is based on how much time you're going to save and how much improved workflows are and how much improved maybe your care is for your patients or your residents. But what you have to think on the other side is, so what happens if that device fails? And this is some data that was captured by VDC Research Group, and it was actually released about a year ago. And they went out and surveyed a whole bunch of different customers, and they looked at rugged devices such as like a Spectralink device versus consumer products. And they found that consumer products have incident rates that are more than 3 times higher than a rugged device. And when they say incident rates, what they mean is anything from, the app didn't load or the app crashed or, the battery died in the middle of, the shift, or I dropped it and the display broke, or it just quit working. And so anytime there's an incident that happens, your worker now, instead of focusing on their job, their task at hand, treating their patient or their resident, they're now focused on the technology. And they have to take time out of their work to figure out why the device isn't working. And every time they do that, they're losing some of that productivity, that gain that you calculated in your ROI. And so that kind of adds up to a total cost of ownership for the device. And so if the device breaks every time you drop it, not only is that the mobile worker then out of commission because they have to go and get a new device, but they have to go to the IT department, they have to put in a trouble ticket, The IT department has to investigate, they have to troubleshoot, they have to try to fix the device, or they have to return it for repairs, and then they have to issue a new one to the mobile worker. So not only is there productivity loss from the mobile worker, but there's also IT time that's taken up for each one of those incidents. And that adds up to your total cost of ownership. And what VDC found was that total cost of ownership in annual TCO for a rugged device was about 2,300. These are US dollars, so multiply by about 1.5. $2,300, and the TCO for a non-rugged device was 4,800, or more than 2 times the cost of ownership of the rugged device. And then when you look at Spectralink and the lengths that we go through to prove that our devices are even more rugged than kind of industry standards, you could see where our total cost of ownership will come down even further and make even more significant impact on the productivity of these devices. And if you're interested, again, I have a link in here to a webinar that I did just last month on TCO, and I'll go into a lot more details about where these numbers come from for VDC and how rugged devices such as a Versity product really stand up well to TCO, especially when looking against a consumer device. Last thing I want to talk to you about on Versity 97 is our alarm button. So I said, you know, we have this red alarm button on the top of the device. We have the Safe app included in the device, again, free of charge. That alarm button can quickly and silently even alert you know, anything from emergency services to security to maybe the, you know, person in charge on that floor or that department. You can also set it to actually generate an alarm so that you can hear the device and it will actually make an alarm sound while it's dialing those pre-programmed emergency numbers. We also have a fall detection, a running detection, and no movement detection. And those can also be set up in the Safe app to, you know, call for help if one of those things is detected. And again, because we are testing with all of these different partner applications, we make sure that our Safe app works with your security services. So, you know, if you have a different security system or application that you're using, you press that red alarm button, the Safe app will connect to that security service and make sure that the calls go out as appropriate through that security service. So we talked about the device. We talked about a lot of the cool features on the device. We talked about how we, you know, check and validate with all of these different partners and the use cases that those can enable, or the enhanced use cases that can be enabled through your mobile device. Now I just want to spend a couple minutes here talking about actual customers that we've had and some of the case studies, and kind of, you can kind of get the voice of the customer side of the story here. So the first case study I want to talk to you about is ACT Health. So they were looking for a device solution that would go across the whole public health system in a whole bunch of different applications, different use cases, different mobile workers with different jobs. And they actually went out and looked at consumer devices, and you can see from the quote there from their CIO, you know, that the consumer grade devices simply just did not work in a healthcare setting. And interestingly, we just had our sales kickoff for the year last month, and we actually brought a hospital administrator from a US hospital in to talk to our sales team about their experience. And in this case, they actually used iPhones. And there are a lot of things that Apple does that just do not jibe very well with use in a hospital or healthcare setting. For instance, Apple requires you to update your software every quarter when they release it, and they will actually shut your devices off if you don't. And this person told us that they would actually segment out an entire week every 3 months. They would physically go around the entire hospital, touch every single iPhone that they had in the hospital, make sure that that update was deployed, make sure that it was updated successfully. And then they also had to test because, you know, Apple doesn't care if they break something in a healthcare app because, again, that's outside of their realm of consumer grade devices. So they would actually have to like go out and troubleshoot and test as the upgrades were being deployed. And they found out a lot of times that things would just get shut off or things would break that they had to fix, and it would take them time to fix. And so we have to be careful in healthcare settings with devices such as that. So they ended up purchasing Versity 95 and Versity 96. So Versity 95 is our Wi-Fi device. Versity 96 is Wi-Fi and LTE. And then they also purchased scanner devices for their employees that needed scanners, and non-scanners devices for people that did not. And again, from the quote, he says the Versity 95 was head and shoulders above the competition. So they even looked at some other rugged devices in the environment and just decided that Versity was well above any of those. And some of the reasons why, you know, the quick provisioning, so they can do NFC tap to provision. You can use any of the EMMs to provision. The integrated scanner, so again, some they didn't need scanners, others they did. That tap to sign in was a great feature for them. The alarm button and the integrated safety features that we talked about was also very important to them. The disinfect capabilities, again, all of the testing that we do with all the different chemicals. And then last but definitely not least was the partnership with Wavelength. So Wavelength made sure that, you know, the deployment went successful, all of the communications were successful. So they work to make sure that those Spectralink devices get deployed and get deployed well within the ACT environment. And the second one I want to cover with you is Maryborough District Health Services. So they're a long-term care facility with 3 different campuses. They were moving from just a simple voice communication device to a smart device, and really trying to, you know, redo all of their workflows and really improve on workflows with a smart device. And again, you can see Versity was a game changer, not only from the nurses, but also from a resident perspective. It let their staff be mobile as well as connectable and contactable. And think about it. So, you know, they would go in and talk to, you know, one of the residents, maybe, you know, give some care to one of the residents. Either they'd have to take notes on a piece of paper, or they would have to just remember what they did. Then they'd have to run out to the nursing station, log into the computer, and, you know, type up their notes. And of course, they probably would get stopped twice on the way by somebody asking them a question. And so, you know, just being able to log into the device and just update the, you know, patient care record right there on the spot as they're talking to the patient, not only allows them to get better notes into their system, but it also allows them to spend more time with the patient or the resident and talk to them about issues they're having or medications or their treatments that they're taking or using. And so, you know, it just really gave them better documentation as well as better resident care, just because of the mobility of the devices. So they purchased the 95s, they purchased AMI Advanced so they could monitor their system, their phones, and their batteries. They also used the professional services from Spectralink to make sure that they were deployed properly, that they had, you know, the proper Wi-Fi connectivity or Wi-Fi coverage in all of their different campuses. And so again, their key to success was the UC integration. So being able to use the BizPhone dialer right out of the box. Their point of care documentation, so opening the phone and launching the, you know, electronic health records right there while they're talking to the resident. That streamlined communication, you know, always being, you know, capable of calling or being called. And once again, that Wavelength partnership to make sure that everything went smoothly from, you know, the proof of concept through ordering, through deployment, and then service on the back end. And so those are just two examples of, voice of the customer. But I just want to show you a quick, synopsis of some of the other customers that we have deployed Versity products to within the healthcare systems in Australia, so that you can kind of see a bunch of the different customers that we have. And if you're interested in more of the case studies, you can just go directly to spectralink.com and you can see a whole bunch of, there's the case studies that I covered here, as well as a lot more healthcare, retail, and manufacturing case studies that we have done. And so we kind of talked about product, we talked about all of the features, the capabilities, the workflows, and then voice of the customer. So I want to thank you for your time. I think we're right about at 45 minutes. If you have further questions, my contact information is here. Karen and Alicia from Wavelength, their contact information is here if you want to talk to somebody locally. If you want to demo some of the Versity products, they'd be more than happy to talk to you. So with that, we'll open it up to any of the questions that we had or any comments.
Thank you, Fred. Very insightful and comprehensive. And I do want to apologize again for those who couldn't hear the sound of the videos. We will be sending out the recording and the PowerPoint as well to include all the links and that you can replay in your leisure time. So let's just quickly, we've got about, say, 10 minutes or so before we wrap up, and just maybe 2 or 3 questions we can squeeze in. I know you elaborated quite a bit, Fred, around the processor and the features of V97, but maybe we can go back to look at some of the details about, and there's a question here, can you provide more details around the processor used in the Versity 97, how it actually enhances the performance in healthcare applications?
Yeah, so we selected the Qualcomm 6490 chipset for the Versity 97, and this is the latest generation of chipsets from Qualcomm for mobile devices. And the 6490 is kind of like their top of the line 8-core processor. So, extremely capable processor. Will handle multitasking, will handle, video applications, so video calling, any of those types of applications. You can have multiple applications open. So if you're a multitasker, you can definitely have all of these different applications open. And we specifically focused on that chipset, and really went to that top level chipset in the lineup today to make sure that we future-proof this product. So even years from now, this 8-core processor from Qualcomm will still be a highly viable, capable processor for multitasking, for any of the new AR and VR applications that'll be coming out. This chipset will continue to perform into the future. It's also, the chipset itself is supported by Qualcomm through 2033, just to give you an idea of what Qualcomm thinks, how long this chipset will last for and how long that they will support it in the marketplace. So again, just a great chipset, long life to it, long support from Qualcomm, and Spectralink will also support the Versity 97 for many years into the future.
Right, great. And how does the Spectralink Versity 97 series achieve exceptional voice quality? I know we went over those 3 videos. And I guess for those who are interested in the technologies, and what are those technologies that you utilize to make sure the clear communications?
Yeah, so we have something called VQO, which is voice quality optimization. So in the background, in the phone itself, we're doing a lot of things in the background to make sure that, number one, we have a good connection to your Wi-Fi access point. In the AMI application, we can actually monitor your MOQ scores, or your mean audio quality score. So we do all of that. we also have the 2 Wi-Fi antennas that we make sure that we are continually monitoring your receive signal strength indicator, your signal strength, and that when we see signal strength starting to decrease on the current AP, that we immediately connect up to another AP with a stronger signal, so that we continuously have that nonstop communication, so that you don't have any dropouts in your voice communication. And then third is that the demonstration of that AI enhanced noise cancellation. I mean, it silences outside noises. So if you're in a noisy environment, you're trying to talk to somebody on the other end, you want to make sure that you're being heard. That AI enhanced noise cancellation will make sure that you are clear, crystal clear to the person on the other end. They probably won't even be aware that you are in any kind of noisy environment. It is that strong. And we've checked it against competitive devices, even new competitive devices, even some of the consumer grade devices, and we just don't see that level of AI enhanced noise canceling in any other device out there. So it is definitely like world-class noise canceling capability.
Thank you, Fred. Now we've got one more question around application. I know you showed us at the start of the presentation about the adaptability and how Versity can integrate to pretty much most of the applications we can think of in this context of healthcare. But is there an application that is not listed in the supported under the supported application list that and if not, then can we work towards the to make sure that it's Spectralink and assisting and certifying?
Yeah,
helpless.
so I didn't cover every single application partner that we have. We do have, again, on spectralink.com, you can go in and look at some of the partner applications that we have and the partnership program that we have. But I would say, if there's an application that you are seriously thinking about or wanting to work with or currently work with and you don't see it on the list, definitely, reach out to your Wavelength representative and they will get in contact with us. And, we are more than happy to validate with partners for our customers. And we've done this before in the past. If we've got a customer who says, hey, we want to work with this application, we will go out and verify to make sure that when we get through and actually install the Spectralink devices and deploy the application on the Spectralink devices, that they do work together. So we have an extensive list. I can't guarantee that we cover 100% of the applications out there, but we definitely will work with anybody to make sure that we have a good seamless deployment with any of our customers. So yeah, talk to us.
Thank you. All right, 8 minutes to go. Can we just squeeze in one more question, Fred?
Sure.
So for those who are already using Versity, and there's a question around, will the current accessories, belt clips and chargers work with Versity 97?
Oh yeah, good point. So I did not cover that here, but I do cover that in the Versity 97 webinar that I did. And yeah, so one of the things that we wanted to do with the Versity 97 was to keep that form factor of the Versity 95, and part of that means that all of the accessories for the Versity 95 will work with the Versity 97. So your belt clip, your chargers, your batteries, those are kind of the big key ones. Those all will work with the Versity 97. So if you have an existing fleet of Versity 95s, you want to upgrade to Versity 97, or maybe you want to deploy, a mixed fleet of 95s and 97s, you can do so. You can use the same chargers, the same batteries, the same belt clips. So yeah, that was a good question. Thank you.
Fantastic. I think yeah. So thank you so much, everyone, for all those amazing questions. And just feel free to reach out to us. Our contact details are on the screen. I guess we just want to say thank you and have a good day.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.